Happy Wednesday, everybody. My name is Scott Morganroth, Motor City Madmouth. We have the Sports Exchange here on the network. I have the dynamic New York duel back in the house. I'm telling you, Eric Katz, oh my goodness, I knew when he went ahead and saw this topic that we're about to talk about, he would jump on. Thanks a lot, Eric. Of course, we see this guy on Monday night. You talk about a superstar in my system. Mr. Katzy is it. We'll introduce the crew. We got Mr. Pizza here, Chris. Welcome back, my friend.
Thank you. Thank you for having me again.
And we have Candy, the natural interviewer, and we'll get to that a little bit later in the broadcast. She's laughing. She says, I don't know what I just did for myself today. Welcome back, Candace.
Thank you. Thanks for having me, Scott.
And Jacob Christner.
Well, pizza, call me pepperoni. We're a team.
Great line. I like that line.
Well,
All these great lines today.
Hey, it's a good night, and we have a good show, and I definitely have a pundit for tonight, like I always do.
I'm sure you do, man. We got George Eichhorn. I knew he wouldn't be off the Sports Exchange long while he's back.
Oh yeah. Good to be back with you guys. I'll take butter pecan ice cream, please, when you're ready.
Butter pecan.
I'll start talking food, or I'll have to get me some Skittles. I've already had enough.
You said the ice cream. Wait a minute.
Yeah,
you know what I'm talking about, right? Pizza.
Don't worry, you get George back, by the way, Eric, on Monday night. And last but not least, Rob. And I have a segment designed for this guy if I ever saw one. Stay tuned.
Yeah, thanks for having us back on, Scott. Listen, real quick, best pizza in Florida. Oh wait, there isn't any.
Okay. Boom. Well, let me tell you, I'll tell you what, you guys were a hit last Wednesday and said, what do I do for an encore? I bring the dynamic New York duel back on, and I'm doing it tonight. Willie Epting couldn't make it tonight, unfortunately. His wife is under the weather, so my prayers to Willie and his wife, feeling a little bit better. But meanwhile, I'm fine with the 6 people that we have on. Well, the title speaks for itself. The legacy of Cubs legend and Hall of Fame Ryne Sandberg succumbed to a 2-year battle with cancer, died at the age of 65. What else can be said? I mean, Ryne Sandberg to me was a consummate professional that played for the Cubs. Unfortunately, did not win a title, but he's outside of Miss Ernie Banks, he's the closest thing to Mr. Cubs. So let's start. I'm going to go right to left on this one. Chris, what are your thoughts about Ryne Sandberg?
Oh, it's a shame, fought this cancer right to the end. Easily one of the greatest second basemen I've ever seen. Definitely over the last 40, 50 years, one of the greatest, easily, obviously Hall of Famer. It's a shame he passed away at a young age as well. I mean, what else is there to say, right, about Ryne Sandberg? Just a great player. And like I said, he fought this cancer right to the end. God bless him, and condolences to his family.
Candy?
Condolences to his family. 16-year career, 10-time All-Star, 9 Gold Glove Awards, 7 Silver Slugger Awards. I mean, Chicago Cubs retired his number 23. The thing that I'll say is that did the Brewers like playing against him? No, but they didn't play against him a lot back in the day because we were in the American League back then. So, but he fought the hard fought. I don't think there's any one of us that haven't been touched by cancer, and it's unfortunate. I wish there was, a cure for cancer, but prayers to his family and friends and the whole Cub organization.
Okay, Jacob. And I'll make sure we get those comments up in the chat. Eric Katz and Eddie Prather are on fire. These 2 guys got some really great ones here tonight. I'm sure other ones will pop in later. So go ahead, Jacob.
Between my pundits message tonight, between all this stuff like that, and between Ryne Sandberg, I've lost my whole generation in like a week.
Oh.
My whole 80s is gone in a week. All is left is Larry Bird, and I don't know if he makes my 50th birthday, to be very honest. That's a few years away. But Ryne Sandberg, I was on Confidential tonight, and I said this. One of my very first game I ever watched, I was 6 years old, and it was the Cubs and the Astros, and I thought it was Ubs and Stros because I didn't see the C, So I didn't see the C under there. So it's like You're a 6-year-old. What can you say? Words on a babe, But one of my first games, one of them, I'd say third or fourth maybe, that I watched on TV was the Sandberg game. It was Bob Costas calling it 2 game-tying home runs against the Cardinals, and almost one game-tying homer because I can remember vividly. Gary Matthews almost won the dang thing. Just went off the wall. Did on the first pitch. So then he wouldn't have been the Sandberg game, but then that's what destiny is. And the main thing about the Sandberg is a good man, but also one of the most consistent hard workers you ever see. And I remember when Joe Morgan used to say, "Oh, he didn't ever get his jersey dirty or his uniform," and they had to remind him because he was always in position. I mean, he was always paying attention, always in position. And the one thing I said tonight, the reason I'm so stiff on you'll see me on Facebook. I'm strict with what I want with the Cubs right now because I remember those Sandberg years, and he had a lot of loaded people in the lineup, and he made 2 playoffs. Didn't even make it in the 90s. He didn't deserve that. He didn't do it everything, and the Cubs were cheap. I don't want that again. But he deserved so much more. But you cannot blame for a wonderful career, Hall of Fame career, and I'm going to miss him big time.
You know what? They make a great comment. Rhino and Lou Whitaker were 2 of the best second basemen of the 80s. No question about that. And I'll just leave it at that. I know I'll save George Eichhorn from having to say it because he'll have plenty of Detroit moments tonight, but won't be with that comment. So what are your thoughts about Rhino, though, George?
Well, again, I'm sort of like in a situation with Candy and the Brewers. We didn't get a chance to see him in Detroit, obviously, very much. But I always admired him. I admired him as the calmness, the composure, and also the fact that, like you guys say, he took his job seriously. He was a perfectionist. He wanted to make people around him better, too. And, I mean, just a terrific career, Ryne Sandberg. Was so as a manager for the Phillies, but that's okay. I mean, he tried his best there, but yeah, I mean, it's a sad thing. Any kind of cancer is bad. We know that the prostate cancer and that, he thought he was cancer free, and then December of 24, of course, he announced that the cancer was back. So. The Cubs have some great players of all time, but he's certainly up there with so many of them, Ernie Banks and Don Kessinger. And I mean, just Billy Williams, just a great, great guy. And his statue, of course, is at near Wrigley Field there in a park. Just a great guy, Scott. We're all going to miss him. Just a terrific ball player and a terrific individual.
Yeah, I never had a chance to meet him at all. I can't meet everybody. I wish I would have met him. But obviously, what he's done at Wrigley Field for the Cubs and that organization. Of course, he had an opportunity to manage the Philadelphia Phillies, the team for which he started. I think he only played under a dozen games there before he was sent over to Chicago. We all know what else he had done there. We didn't have the benefit of interleague play as we do now, or we would have been able to. And I'm glad that they did bring on interleague play so we can see all the players. That was a great move. J.D. White in the chat room says, I used to watch Ryne Sandberg. I think he says WGN. There you go, WGN in the 90s when I was 7, 8 years old. That's a call back to when Wrigley Field didn't even have lights. Great point. I like some of these comments in the chat room. Really good points. All right, Rob, you have the last word on it. I mean, I'll just say this. Ryne Sandberg, you're definitely going to be missed. And we've lost too many big people last week. It's just a shame that you're the latest in that recent line of losses that we've had. Obviously, you had Hulk Hogan. Then you had Ryne Sandberg, and you wonder who's next.
Ozzy Osbourne.
Yeah, him too.
Yeah.
All right, go ahead, Rob.
Yeah, well, in 1984, he won the MVP, if you remember. Mm-hmm. And I saw him play a lot at Shea Stadium in 1984 against the Mets because that's when the Mets and Cubs were really rivals in the Eastern Division of the National League. And I went to a ton of Met games where he played, and the Mets were battling the Cubs for first place that year. And the Cubs won. The Mets ended up 6.5 games out. And, man, did he kill the Mets all the time. I mean, I used to go there, and we would see him get up, and that's it. He was great.
How many cuss words did you set at him before he had another home run on you?
a lot, but and I was, I was young then, and we hated the Cubs.
Your
The
first
Cubs.
word, you're New Yorker. Your first word for cuss words.
You're right. When we came out, we cursed at the doctors, but
Yeah, exactly. No,
listen,
you spank the doctors. They don't spank you. You spank the doctors.
instead of spanking us. But listen, he was great to watch. What a professional, even though, the Mets, and when I tell you it was a heated rivalry, it was worse than with the Phillies and Mets right now. But I had the pleasure to see the great Cub play, and condolences to his family. Just a great player and a great man.
All right, well, there you go. You have it for everybody else. Rest in peace, Ryan. We're glad to have you, Jode. Thanks for subscribing. Maria, if you don't mind, please subscribe to our channel as well if you're not already. We would appreciate it. We have a lot of great opinions on him. So with that said, let's stay with the Baseball Hall of Fame theme. Ichiro Suzuki, Billy Wagner, CC Sabathia, the latest member, unfortunately posthumously, Dave Parker and Dick Allen. And Dave Parker's passed away just about a month before he got in, and his son, I believe, read a poem. So let's evaluate the Hall of Fame class in its entirety. Chris, what are your thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, it was a great class. I mean, it's just sad that, Dave Parker and Dick Allen were not there. And obviously Stargell, like you said, just passed away pretty recent. It's just sad that they couldn't be there for it. It's a shame that they waited this long to vote them in, to get them in there. But otherwise, yeah, it was a great induction ceremony. All had great speeches. Ichiro, I didn't know he had that kind of a sense of humor. That guy had a great speech. Billy Wagner, CC, of course, great. It was just a great day, man. I loved that day and the NFL induction ceremony. It's great to hear these guys finally speak and just kind of give you their history a little bit, how they got to where they got to, throughout their career and stuff. And it's always great to hear them in their own words, So, but it was a touching moment to see Dave Parker's son, Dick Allen's widow was there doing his speech. So it was really good. And it's kind of hearing them, the ones that weren't there, it's kind of hearing them in their words say what they wanted to say. Dave Parker had things that he wanted to say, and Dick Allen as well. So it's really awesome. Just a great day for baseball. The big question is, should it be done during, like, say, the All-Star break, so more people would watch it? Because you got all these games going on that day, so it's kind of hard. If you're a fan of any other team, are you tuning in? So I don't know. That would be a debate to check into. But otherwise, great day.
Yeah, well, it's interesting how you bring that up. You know what? I have an idea now that you brought it up, Chris. Maybe they should do it the day before that Sunday, or actually that Monday, I think. And although they don't want to make some math, but you'll get a lot of people's wheels turning with your thoughts, obviously, with our audience getting bigger. I have a feeling that could be subject for debate. All right, Candy, what's your take on this?
We talked a little bit about this on the baseball show. I mean, CC Sabathia, I remember him. Obviously, he came in and he helped the Brewers for that one. He was a half of a year rental, let's face it. But what he did for the Brewers and how he consistently played, like during the playoffs, he would play on not much rest back in the day. And I remember him really coming through for us. Great player, great pitcher. He's had some struggles outside of baseball, but good to see him getting in the Hall. Ichiro, what do we say about him? Probably one of the best contact hitters, of all time. I mean, he just the way he went about it himself. Dave Parker, it's just sad to see that he wasn't there to, do the speech and everything like that. But the fact that his son did it, kudos to him. It's always good to see guys getting into a Hall of Fame, because that's the pinnacle of their career. That tells them that you know what? We all recognize how good you really were, and what an honor. That's where I'll end there.
All right, Jacob.
Another out of the mouths of beige moment. I remember a couple of the first as watching it at 6 years old starting. A couple of the first players I remember because I used to watch Don Criqui, in the mornings. Like we woke up almost criminally early, so you had Don Criqui in the mornings with sports. So I remember those years and everything like that. And you'd see Dave Hendrickson and Dave Parker, and I wondered if they were brothers. And Dave Parker beat his little brother. When you're a little kid, you think the goofiest things. But Dave Parker was a beast of a man. He was ridiculously big. And I mean, just like, and then as he got older and he was getting, and everything like that, he looked about 260 or 70. It was a little different. He was starting to look like Stargell a little bit from those times. But he always had that ridiculous arm. I remember that too. Reason I remember that arm because Andre Dawson had that arm too. Those type of things. So it was like, and then, it's just, and I hate this for Dave Parker, excuse me. I hate this for Dave Parker because the poem was basically a Ricky Henderson from Timu moment.
Right.
About it was basically I'm pretty, I'm so pretty, whatever, and all that kind of deal. And I'm, as I said, I was with Pittsburgh. I loved you, that kind of deal. And it's like, I hated this because my pundit is going to be based off of this. And it's like, I hate to see him at that age being in such rough shape as he was because someone like him, deserved, and just like a lot of people, they deserve to grow old gracefully. And he never got to do that, unfortunately.
Yeah. What we're going to do, by the way, is the show's going to be broken up into two parts. We're going to start off with a lot of our baseball topics earlier. George Eichhorn's going to get in the middle with a comment on Lenny Wilkins, and then we'll have football a little bit toward the end. So I want to make sure it's organized. And I have some strong thoughts about what took place in another area that we'll get to. One parting shot that I have is going to probably be one. Everybody's going to get a piece of the action on that as well. So with that said, George, some thoughts about.
I have absolute confidence that all of these guys were so well deserving to enter the Hall of Fame. Dick Allen, Dave Parker, CeCe Sabathia, Ichiro, and Billy Wagner, when they had the induction ceremonies last Sunday. I mean, it was a great, great day. It was great for baseball. It was not overwhelmingly crowded. I did see a few empty folding chairs towards the back. So, I mean, I know that a lot of people gravitate to the bigger names, but man, these were great names, great guys. And like you guys said, unfortunately, the deaths of Dave Parker and Dick Allen much a while back cast a little bit of a pall. But to see, I think there were like 56 or, inductees coming out there, and they're introduced one by one. And that's where I relate because of, like Scott knows and everybody knows, we go a lot of years back, Scott and I, 46, 47 years. We've seen most of those guys. But to see Juan Marichal again, and to see Johnny Bench come out, and of course Jim Leland, and some of the ones that even needed a little assistance, they didn't want to pass it up, even if they were using a walker, a wheelchair, or a cane. But this is a great day for baseball. I agree with whoever said it earlier. It's too bad there can't be more coverage because it is such an important day for baseball. But unfortunately, you're always going to have conflicts with whatever's going on. But no, it was a great class this year, Scott, and I really, really think that the writers and the special committee did the right thing with these five.
Hey, Eichhorn, did Leland have his cigarette?
No cigarettes. No, they told him he can't smoke on the stage.
That's not Leland.
Yeah. George, I'm gonna partially disagree with you on the right thing in a second. I'm gonna let Rob get a piece of the action. Fernando, glad to have you. I'm not sure why you do not hold something local at the stadium or host a Hall of Fame night leading up or after the event. Actually, they do honor a lot of these players.
Yeah, I think the Yankees are doing. I think the Yankees are honoring CC.
Yeah, so they do, Fernando. But I'm glad you brought that up. All right, Rob, you go ahead. I have a couple of things I want to get off my chest as well about this.
Great class, of course. Listen, at least I'm glad that Dave Parker at least knew he was in the Hall of Fame. I mean, it's a shame he didn't get to enjoy the ceremony. But I agree with George. I love when they announce, the old Hall of Famers. I love when they come out. It's just history in front of us. But what's kind of sad too? Every year, it gets smaller and smaller. 10 years ago, it was packed. We've lost a lot of people in the past, even 5 years. Willie Mays, Hank Aaron, Gibson, Seaver, Carter, 10 years ago. It's just, that's the part that, is sad about the ceremony. But I love seeing the old guys. It's great. And this class was great. Next year, we have to see what the class is going to look like next year, Scott. But this year it was great.
Yeah, the only problem I do have with what took place is why Ichiro did not get 100% of the vote.
Yeah.
Don't know why.
Yes.
I mean, that's absurd. Whoever left him off the ballot should lose their privilege of voting. Mariano Rivera, I believe, is the only one on record that got them all right. Ichiro Suzuki should have been there, and I could even make a case for Derek Jeter as well. But if you don't put Jeter, I understand, but there's no darn reason why Ichiro Suzuki should not have gotten 100%. That, to me, is absolutely criminal. And another thing, Rob, that you mentioned as well, COVID-19, I think we've lost like 20 people in the last 5 years, and that is sad. Not because of that situation, but we've lost a lot. Al Kaline obviously went down as well. I could get into that. I don't have the time to get into that because we have so much stuff we have to get to.
Yeah.
But it is sad. It was a pretty good class. It was. Even Wade Boggs felt bad about it because in the 2005 class, it was just him and it was Ryne Sandberg. And Ryne Sandberg just barely got in, as I understand. But they got in. And when you have Wade Boggs and Ryne Sandberg together, that's a pretty good class with just those two fellows by themselves.
And they should be 100% too when you think about it.
Yeah.
Right? I mean, how can you not vote them in?
Listen, guys, a lot of guys who should have got 100% didn't. DiMaggio didn't. Seaver didn't. We could go down the line. Yeah.
Everybody but Rivera,
right?
Everybody but Rivera didn't get it.
Exactly. There you go.
All right, I'm going to go to one more baseball topic, one all too familiar with people in Detroit anyways. But we're going to talk about this since we're in the baseball mindset. The Detroit Tigers are actually swept by Seattle in 1984. The irony is they won the World Series that year. So they were swept by Seattle this year. Is that an omen? I don't know. But the Tigers have been snake bitten by the injury bug lately. But at least, and there's still a lot. There's still tonight and tomorrow to go. But to the Tigers' credit, they did make a trade with the Minnesota Twins this week when they acquired right-handed pitcher Chris Paddock and right-handed pitcher Randy Dobnak. I believe Paddock won today. I think he went 6 innings, gave up a run. First act, doing pretty well with Jake Rogers, a guy who, by the way, I interviewed when I was down here from Minnesota in exchange for catcher Enrique Jimenez. Paddock a winner today. Reese Olson, by the way, is out for the season with a shoulder strain. Detroit also got a solid pitching outing this week by Troy Helton versus a Diamondback, going 7 innings, allowing no runs. So a couple of good pitching performances by some reinforcement. So, well, you know what? We're going to start off with George. Let's talk about the irony with Seattle and some of these new additions since you're back in Metro Detroit anyways.
Yeah. I mean, it is ironic. Seattle's got the number for the Tigers. And that happens a lot in different situations. We all know that with different rivals. But, boy, that's an amazing stat. And the fact that you dug deep there to get that 1984 comparison, we'll see. But that's certainly the Tigers are not happy about losing all those games. But, yeah, and and what's going on right now is now that they're winning again, and that was very nice. They swept the D-backs and with this afternoon's win, and now they got to go to Philly, a huge series this weekend in Philadelphia. That's not going to get a whole lot better than that. I mean, as far as two clubs that are trying to get good back in the World Series, but the pitching situation, is still very disconcerting because you mentioned, Scott, Troy Melton came out of the minors, came up from Toledo, and he did a hell of a job, and then the guy they picked up from Minnesota in the trade. So I'm thinking now, even though the Jackson Jobe is gone, and even though, God, there's so many injuries. And I'm not going to dwell on that. They got to go forward. They got to have an upbeat situation, and I think that's what AJ Hinch brings. And they're having fun with Green and shaving his beard and stuff right now. But all in all, I think that if they weren't as bad as that losing streak, that terrible 12 out of 13, 11 out of 12, whatever it was. But they certainly are a better team than that, and I think they'll continue to lead the way, at least in the American League.
You'll go to Jacob.
Here's the thing about this, George. One of the things to remember is look how far Detroit made last year. You know, I mean, how far they did this right here. This is the thing. When you have a team like this and you get yourself a manager and all that stuff, Detroit had a lot of years. They were just bad. A lot. And now they're learning to win. This is learning to winville right now. And it's like they got that far last year. They're a target now. And it's like, so there's going to be struggles. And a team like Seattle, you got to remember, they have got Cal Raleigh, who's got 42 homers right now.
Oh, 41,
42. They got him, and he's one thing about. Let me tell you this about him. I will say this: he goes out of that lineup, they're in trouble. Not because he's the only guy, but he's the heart. He's at the heart of that lineup. But right now, they've got him. They're dangerous. So don't even worry about that type of thing. But don't worry about your team. Don't worry about your team by itself. And even if something would happen, a lot of people are talking about, oh my God, they're sinking, tanking, whatever they're saying. Forget about that, because really, it's a team learning how to win. It's like, remember, the Cubs won in 16. They hadn't won in 108 years. They get back in 17. They have to go to the NLCS and get clobbered. And then from there on out, first round, then none at all. So, and then they've had to learn to come back again. So it happens with teams. It is like when it's a young team or it's a team whatsoever, or it's somebody that's learning how to do it, this will happen. So it's up to Detroit to figure it out. You know, to figure this out. And even if, and just one more thing to say, if something would happen with them and they don't panic like everybody else will, because it's a learning process. The constant winning is learning.
We'll go to Fernando Vargas really quickly in chat room. Tigers lose 10. Still be up in first. It is their lead to give up, no question about that. And it looks like the Minnesota Twins are sellers. I have a feeling that Cleveland probably will be too. Most of the first players teams are trash or 50-50 on those. Can't debate that either. Okay, we'll turn over to Rob.
Yeah, listen, Detroit, on our show, I picked Detroit when me and Chris made our picks. I picked Detroit to win the American League pennant this year. All right, so I think, Detroit has an excellent team. Of course, they're going to go through a slump, right? Season is so long. Everyone says it's a marathon, and it is. They went through a bad spell. They're winning again. Riley Green, with just a mustache, I think they won 3 games, so he says he's going to keep it that way.
Right.
But they'll be fine. They'll be fine. I'm going to stick with it. I think they're going to win the American League pennant. And I'm not worried about the Detroit Tigers with that losing streak. It happens to every team, and they're winning again. So that's what I think.
I'm with you, Rob. That's all I was saying. I'm with you.
Candy.
The Tigers are just fine. Yes, every team goes through slumps and goes through hot streaks. Fernando, I would beg to differ that you think that the rest of the first place teams are trash. I say it depends on the division that you're talking about, and I don't know that I would ever say trash. There are some divisions that are very tightly contested, let's say right now. But the Tigers are fine. The Tigers have pitching. As long as the Tigers stay healthy, they'll be fine. And that's pretty much what I would say true of a lot of the teams. If they stay healthy, they'll be just fine.
Okay, Chris.
Yeah, I mean, just to add, I think especially in the American League is wide open right now, right? There's no great teams, and you could even go into the National League and say the same thing, right? With the Dodgers being banged up as they are. But in the American League specifically, I mean, there's no great teams. There's good teams, but they're all flawed. Every team has some sort of flaw to them. But the Tigers are in a weak division, and they're taking full advantage, right? They got a nice lead, so they could handle a little bit of a slump and just keep moving on, you know. And I think they do have a really good team, but are they a team that you're going to go into the playoffs and say, okay, they're definitely going to win the American League, right? I don't see that, because I see every other team kind of in, you know, the top teams, at least, they're all kind of the same. They all got their good side, and, you know, they're kind of weak in other positions too. Like, I don't love the Tigers bullpen, right? I mean, Will Vest is a decent closer this year, but show me that you could do it in the playoffs first before we call you a good closer, right? And the rest of the bullpen. That's how I looked at the Tigers.
Yeah, we'll revisit that after the trade deadline. Like I said, tomorrow night.
Yes.
We'll be able to do that. Ever heard of Tarek Skubal? Guess what? He's pretty good. Ever heard of AJ Hinch? Won a World Series? Pretty good.
Listen, Skubal's like an automatic W in the playoffs when he pitches.
Skubal's a rich man waiting to happen, and we'll leave it at that. No, we're gonna stay on the Detroit theme a little bit, since this is Eichhorn's night back. Anyways, have a couple topics right up his alley, and we'll go to.
Can I say one thing to Pizza there real quick?
Sure, go ahead.
Be careful about saying Tarek is a automatic, because they used to think that about Clayton Kershaw, and he couldn't win for about 3 years in the playoffs.
Right.
So
Skubal did pitch bad in the playoffs last year, right?
Yeah,
Didn't he give up a grand slam?
It's a mental thing. The playoffs are a different breed of animal. Tarek's awesome, so is Skeens, but it's a mental thing once you get there.
Yeah, I mean, I kind of said that with Will Vest, and just with you could say that about every team in the league right now, right? What team has proven themselves in the playoffs?
Oh,
right?
I know.
Right?
It's wide open right now.
It's wide open. That's all I'm saying. It's wide open.
Okay, onward we go. A couple topics will go a lot quicker than what we had, but we had 3 heavy hitters at the beginning. One voice you won't be seeing in college football past 2025 is former Detroit Lion and chief who's currently working for CBS now, Gary Danielson. He'll retire. Charles Davis will take over in 2026. All right, Jacob, what are your thoughts? You follow college football much? I know one thing, Gary Danielson's done a heck of a job.
It reminds you of Vern Lundquist going out too. You know, I mean, we're losing everybody. We're losing. See, and the thing about it, I think about these all the time, is these are special. These are very, very special announcers. You think I say these names and stuff. There's a couple of years we did golf. And you think about all of these, and they have their own spin, whether it's college football, it's golf, tennis, any of that stuff. The one thing that we don't have with announcers, like everybody used to, I'm talking about Gary Danielson included.
Right.
They used to sound like they're your buddy and they're at the bar and we're having talk. Everybody now sounds like they came out of announcing school.
Right.
And it sounds very, very like you were taught in a classroom. Yeah, but be careful. Don't say this. Be careful. It's like it didn't feel organic. And I'm going to miss the guy because I'm going to miss Lundquist. I miss Keith Jackson from way in the day. You miss them all because they don't have that. There's a lot of these current announcers. There's a couple left that do. But when they retire, that's going to be it because this current crop, 25, 30 years old, they're just kind of in a classroom. And it kind of stinks. So we're going to miss these guys.
Couldn't agree more. All right, George, you know about Danielson plenty. We both know.
Yeah, you know, Gary was a great quarterback in the Big Ten and then played for the Lions for a little bit. He has been a real rock there for CBS and their college football game. And you mentioned, of course, working with Lundquist. But I'll tell you what, Gary, one thing about him is, he's never afraid to try to, give his opinion. And when he talks, people listen. I mean, I know he wasn't like on the Monday Night Football crew. He never got to call a Super Bowl or stuff like that. But he was happy with where he was. He loves his college football, and he loves describing as an analyst. I mean, a game analyst. And you're right, Jacob. I mean, you're not going to see those kind of teams very much anymore. I mean, a lot of the guys that we grew up with, us older folk, are retiring, or sadly, some have passed on, as we know. But yeah, Danielson, he's going to be missed, and he's a good guy, and he's always been one of my top college analysts that I root for too.
They don't have the spice. They don't have the spice, George. They were there. Like I said, they like Madden came straight from coaching, And so he had to learn his own way. And then so you had to learn your own way. Danielson came from the NFL. You had to learn your own way. They're not learning. They weren't learning in classrooms. They weren't learning this organic one-step way deal like certain things do. They learned basically what works.
Gary Daniels is one of those guys that didn't need a Super Bowl to define his legacy. He's a foundation. All right, Rob.
Yeah, well, I agree, and he's going to be missed. But what the other guy said, things are just it's just different. The old school announcing is dying. It's a slow death. But the announcers, he didn't have to be an analyst in the NFL, right? It didn't matter. He was happy, and people loved him. Now it's just everything's different. I went to school for communications and broadcasting. Okay, I started out when I was a kid. I got a lucky break because Jay Horowitz of the Mets, this was in the early 80s, gave me a break and let me interview the Mets a couple of times, and I was able to build there. But then I got into media management. The broadcasting teams were so different, and I just think it's as the older ones die in every sport. I'm not just talking about college football, basketball. I'm talking about everything. It's just going to be it's just different, and I'm old school.
No kidding. I'll tell you one thing about Jay Horowitz, okay, Rob?
Yeah.
One of the guys, he's credentialed me a lot. One of the finest people you'll ever meet.
Great guy.
He's been a really big help to me all through my years when I was with the Mets. So I've always been grateful for Jay Horowitz, one of the class. I'm glad, pretty neat that you ended up crossing paths with him too. Jay Horowitz is as good as they get when it comes to public relations, communications. This guy just, to me, is a jewel. All right, Candy.
We talk about old school media. We talk about these old gems. Let's face it, back in the day when they started, like, they had to know the knowledge in their head. They didn't have computers like these guys do now that can spew out different stats and all that so quickly. They knew those things. But kudos to him that he's going out when he wants to go out. That we've had so many other people that have gone out because of other reasons. So it's always nice to see someone retiring on his terms, wanting to, live life. Let's face it. There's been we talked earlier. Ryne Sandberg, how he lost his life. Hulk Hogan, like, go out, go and enjoy retirement. You've worked for how long? Enjoy your life.
He's gonna do it. All right. So what's your thought about Danielson?
I think, you know what, he's one of those iconic voices, and he's kind of underappreciated or underrated because of, I think you guys mentioned, right? Like, he never got to do a Super Bowl. That was probably more his choice, staying in college football. But I think staying in college football, he kind of stayed under the radar for, whatever it's been, 35, 40 years. But he is one of the greatest voices, I think, easily over the last, 40 years, at least during my lifetime, going back to Keith Jackson. I mean, he's definitely one of the greatest voices in college football or in sports in general. Right. So, but I think, like Candy said, he's going out on his terms, which is great. Sometimes you don't get a chance to do that. So he's going out on top, which is awesome, because he's still one of the best or the best college football announcer out there. So, he's definitely going to be missed. I know I'm going to miss, listening to him for sure on CBS.
I'll put it this way. For many years, he covered the Southeastern Conference. The last 2 years, because of the shakeup in the TV deals, he gets a Big Ten. Not the worst thing I've ever seen. We'll segue over to Big Ten, too, by the way, is Mr. Sharon Moore banning flag planting after a fight with Ohio State University. All right, Chris, what are your thoughts about Sharon Moore banning flag planting?
I love it. I'm a Michigan fan to begin with, but I love this decision by the coach, putting it out there, saying, hey, we're not going to do that. I hated seeing it when teams do that. I hated seeing Michigan do that as much as it was against Ohio State. I hated seeing it because it's one of those, just beat them and that's enough, right? Do what you got to do, and I think what he said in the article is that he's gonna, shake the hands, do everything, because these guys, they're still kids, right? They're still, some of them are teenagers still, and they're gonna just go to the band and sing the fight song, and that's it. So I love it. I think it's a great decision.
Candy.
I liked last night. We talked about this on Inside the Pigskin, and Tom Shanahan brought over what is the tradition between Army and Navy. What happens no matter who wins? They sing their fight song first after the game. What a tradition! Do I think he has to come out and tell everybody publicly that he's banning his guys from doing this? No, but I also think that these are kids and they get excited. And how do you put how do you tell them what they can and can't do when they're celebrating something, a feat that they just did? And let's face it, last year they weren't expected to go in and beat Ohio State, but they did. And how do you tell them, okay, you have to celebrate, but you can't celebrate by doing this. You can only do this or that. It's just hard, because where do you draw the line?
Okay, Jacob, and I'm sure you have thoughts about this one.
Well,
he's a
I'm
cold
with Andy on that one. I don't know how it stops it. Then again, here's the thing: with all these NILs, how many people leave? Is the Michigan and Ohio State rivalry going to be the same after the NIL, unless they put a zip to that a little bit? Because when you had this rivalry for so many years, hundreds of years, whatever, tens of 50 and whatever amount of years, people stayed 4 years. You learn to hate your rival. How do you learn to hate the rival when you leave in 1 year? So will it matter at that point, and will anybody listen to begin with? I mean, it just makes me wonder. But here's the real rivalry is in what it is. Michigan beat Ohio State, and Ohio State came back and won the whole division and won the whole title.
Right.
There's the rivalry right there.
Yeah,
it's like
right.
Michigan saying that's not a real championship, but Ohio State's saying, well, we'll just beat you next year. That's the perfect rivalry. It's like one won the game, one won the title. You have two perfect storylines right there. You don't need anything else.
All right, George.
Well, yeah, I'm very happy at the news, and I'm glad Coach did that, because that isn't Michigan football. I mean, having a tunnel fight against Michigan State and having a planting that flag at midfield, that's not Bo Schembechler and not Lloyd Carr kind of football, or even Jim Harbaugh. So I think that he did have to put his foot down, and he did. And, the guys, there's ways to celebrate, but you don't rub it in their face. And that's kind of the rub it in your face mentality, unfortunately, that a lot of young athletes and football players at these schools know nowadays. And, it was just, I think, a solid decision by him, and emphasizing that's not what we stand for. And, whether you like Michigan or don't like them, it doesn't matter. The fact of the matter is there is some fair gamemanship here. And whether it's shaking hands or whether it's just quietly going and singing, like Candy said, singing your alma mater or whatever the song, that's what college football is to me, and what I've grown up with. I don't need all this other stuff, shenanigans like that.
You do that with Schembechler. You do that with Schembechler, and you'll be running steps for a week, and then he'll just tell you when it's over.
Yeah.
I'm not kidding with that. I mean, that you did not, and everybody knew it, because they were behaved in that thing, with exceptions, but you get my point.
Hey, Rob, I have some interesting opinions. I'll just wait and see where everybody goes with this one. Go ahead, Rob.
I'm from New York. I like the flag planting. I want to see them beat the crap out of each other. I'm only kidding.
No, you're not.
No, you're not. No.
No, I am.
Dude, you look like Tommy Dreamer from Team Move. You want to fight?
No, listen. Coach made a good decision, right? Because these kids are fighting, and now's the time you got to teach them sportsmanship. And they bring this crap to the NFL, and then we saw what was going on in the NFL, right? They're young. they're, I think it's just a good idea to stop it. Sing the fight song, sing the victory song, but no more, flag on the 50-yard line, fighting. The kids get pissed at each other, and they hate each other. Be rivals, but after everything's over, shake hands.
Well, you know what? Fred Sanford used to go ahead and have a line when he didn't like Lamont. Are you crazy? I'm not saying you guys are. People call me that. I really get that a lot. Once upon a time, the Ohio State Buckeyes said, we're going to pin a 100 spot on you. You can't sit here and tell me at some point or another that these guys didn't hear that somewhere and the Wolverines beat them. Now, I get to sportsmanship. Maybe I'm the one person on this panel that might just understand that flag planting a little bit more than most, let alone sticking it on Ohio State when they wanted to put 800 on you. Now, what has happened? They haven't beat the Wolverines since. So as far as I'm concerned, forget about that do on others as they do on you. But some of these kids may not know the history of a lot of other sports that they probably know the history of this rivalry. And one guy by the name of Ryan Day said, we wouldn't mind putting 100 on you. And you know what? Even though Ohio State did bounce back and they won the national championship, got it right at the right time, the Wolverines can actually say had a moral victory that we ended up beating you guys and you had to win for it and get it right. So I understand it's a right decision. I do believe it, but I'm going to also say that I don't blame them for doing it. So I'm going to say I don't blame them because nobody wants to be told they're going to put 100 on you, let alone with Michigan and Ohio State. So if they do, I invite them to drive on I-95 in New York when you on I-95 here in Miami when they cut you off and everybody's getting flag planted with fender benders because nobody knows what the word turn signal means. So I'll leave it at that. I get it a little bit. Gonna give Eichhorn a chance for a little solo segment. Willie would have gotten it, but he's not on. But George will get it by himself. It's an easy one, so you don't have to take forever. Or I'll give you a really seriously, really. But since you're a basketball guy, and I haven't had basketball topics on lately, I'm going to get George's perspective about the fact that Lenny Wilkens is got a statue outside of Climate Pledge Arena in Seattle. What are your thoughts about that, George?
Well, yeah, this guy is a class act too. We talk about class individuals. Lenny Wilkens, back in the days when the NBA wasn't as crazy it is now, Lenny Wilkens was definitely one of the best coaches around. I mean, he came in and he would play the Pistons wherever he went, not just Detroit, but I mean, anywhere that man went, he just exuded class to me. He was a sharp dresser, and he was really, really one of the finest X and O's guys I've ever seen as far as head coaching. Just a great individual. And you know what? A lot of people give credit to a lot of, African Americans, and rightfully so. Bill Russell, our own in Detroit, Ray Scott, Earl Lloyd. But boy, Lenny Wilkens, as far as coaching, he was one of the top black coaches in the NBA and coaches, period. And, he showed that and deserved that statue. I'm glad they did that for him. He's certainly a class individual.
Okay, great. Thanks for your perspective on that. So
Sure.
What we're going to do is I'm going to go to our non-sports topics, and then we're going to go to a station break. And what we do, I've got a present for Rob. Okay, so I hope you don't miss this one. I've been so
He's
excited.
Bringing your brother Adam Carolla around.
Well, I got a present Rob will never forget. Rob will be telling everybody on MLB Talk and Chris what the Motor City Madmouth pulled out of his pocket and picked the right time to do it. Oh, my goodness. Stay tuned for this. But we're going to go to my non-sports topics of the night. So get this. Tesla is up to 800 millions of Cybertruck people that nobody wants. 10,000 units in inventory being stored in unconventional locations like the mall and the parking lots. My goodness. So with that said, would you guys drive a Tesla?
I would drive the car.
Oh, here, let's go ahead and start up at the top.
Yeah, I'll drive the car. I don't like the truck. I think the truck is the ugliest thing on the face of the earth. So no, I would not drive the truck. The car, I have no problem driving one of their cars.
Good enough. We don't have to have long-winded answers on this because I got plenty of other stuff I want to get to that's going to have a few laughs. I know we started this thing off seriously, but there's going to be a little humor on this show before it's over. It'll be coming sooner than you guys even realize it, gal. Katie, would you drive a Tesla?
Not the truck. Like pizza. No, not the truck.
Okay, Jacob.
The truck looks like something that in about 10, 15 years when I would have kids, they're going to say, that's what it looks like? Really?
Right. Who designed this?
Yeah, exactly. It's kind of like the old car today. But the car, sure, maybe, just depending, but I'll be going for hybrid anyway. But the truck, nah, maybe for a rolling billboard.
Okay, what about you, George? I don't think you'd ever get to
No,
one anyway.
you're talking about a guy from Detroit with the Chrysler, Ford, and GM here, but it's not just that. It's the fact that I don't like the style of it. I probably could do the car, but definitely not the truck either.
What about you, Rob?
Yeah, I would drive the truck and I would put on an ET mask and I'd drive around the trailer parks in Jersey and jump out of the Tesla truck with the ET mask on.
There you go.
All right, here's what I think. Number one, I won't drive an electric vehicle. And many years ago, I tried to use an electric mower to work on my cottage in Beaverton, Michigan, and that didn't work out very well, and the lawn didn't get done, and I had to get done because I couldn't get the stupid cord to reach around it anyways. So that's number one. Number two, that truck belongs in Afghanistan, not on a road near you. It belongs in Afghanistan. So no, I
Does
would. I don't want
Afghanistan
no
have
electric.
charging machines?
Yeah, I don't even know what they have out
I'm
there.
going to drive down to South Florida with some pizza in that truck.
Yeah.
How's that?
There
I
you
like
go.
Yeah,
It's
I like Joe
it's too
too. It's a
heavy
no
for
to
the
full
cab.
electric car. Bingo, brother.
I don't know if
Cheers,
it'll make it.
whatever. I don't drink, but cheers to you, Joe. Anyway, no, I wouldn't drive an electric car. I wouldn't drive a self-driving car. And I know my driving's been a little bit limited because I've been sick lately. But I wouldn't. I love my Honda Odyssey. Called that my condo on wheels. Now, since I had the New York Dynamic Duo, this topic is custom made to fit these two guys. I love my New York Dynamic Duo.
Oh, boy.
So get ready for this one, people. New York has the most billionaires in the world. They got 123 of them who hold about $759 billion according to Forbes. New York, money, M-O-N-E-Y, dollar sign. Take it to the bank, wherever you put it up there. Not get this, 123 billionaires and $759 billion. Pretty impressive, huh? Pizza. You can buy an awful lot of pizza for that kind of dough.
Yeah, why not? Yeah, I mean, it doesn't shock me, right? New York is, we see a lot of rich people out in New York, out in the islands you do, and in the city. Yeah, so you got to remember, a lot of stars live out in the Hamptons or in the city, so it kind of doesn't shock me.
So
Yeah,
those
you
are
know
your numbers
what?
for the night. Hold on. Those are your numbers for the night. And here's the thing. Recommendation from the group here. If you go ahead and take 123, mind you, okay, and then we have 759, what you have is a 6-digit number. If you win the lottery with that number, the rule is I don't want to know about it. Period. I gave you 6. I'm not a lottery guy, but I gave you lots of lottery combinations with that number. We have billionaires. We might have another one if some of these people out here in our fan base get it right. But you heard it here on the Sports Exchange. Had to get that out there.
How many are in Florida?
759.
How many billionaires are in Florida?
Huh?
How many billionaires are in Florida?
I don't know. That wasn't the topic, so who cares?
Would it be one?
All I can tell you is that if you have monsters,
One.
they're probably in Palm Beach County anyways, in Jupiter anyways. Palm Beach County's got some money, that's for sure. All you have to do is go right on the beach and some of these other joints. I think even our president has a joint out in Mar-a-Lago, but don't get me started with this guy.
Oh, boy.
I mean, because if I do, then
Next
the
topic.
show's going to blow up, and I don't want to do that. My voice only has so long it can go. All right.
So the answer to your question is there are 78 billionaires in the state of Florida.
There you go.
There you go. Our track record
That's
out
not
there.
bad. That's
So
not
78?
bad. Not
Mhm.
bad.
It's not bad. Where they kill? Now you went that far. Where are they? I imagine we got to be in Palm Beach County.
I don't know. I didn't get that.
Oh, that's okay. She gave you
Two
the
of them
number.
are you guys. Two
Well,
of
it's
them
one
are
of-
Andy and Scott.
One is in Jacksonville, right? The guy that owns the Jaguars. Where does he live?
Well, Shad Khan puts his money out in London. Don't worry about that. And that's why they play there. But look, Danny gave it to you. That's all we need to know. We ain't going to go any further than that.
Awesome.
But New York has it, 123, $759 billion. Awful lot of dough. Why do you think you have a lot of pizza out there? Because you got a lot of dough. I'll forget the stupid analogies. I haven't as much caffeine as I normally should have. All right, Jacob, what are your thoughts about our New York people? Not bad.
Love it. Love it because it gives me motivation. I want it. I don't have it. Hey, I want that kind of money, and maybe it happens, maybe it doesn't, but it gives me a motivation. It's like if there's not a motivation, what's the point?
See, that's why I have my New York dynamic duo. I could get away with putting a non-sports topic on. They didn't know what these things were last week, but they're fast learners. These two guys. That's why I brought this topic on before Mr. Cruz here, who's going to have a segment of his own. Well, if you think he's laughing now, wait till you get done here, because I'll tell you what. So, George, what do you think about those millionaires? You never find those in Detroit these days.
Oh, well, listen, they some of them work very, very hard. Most of them do, to get that kind of lofty status, something that I'll never see. But I think that New York, that's typical. They would have the most. But we got a few, and not too many, but we got a few in Michigan. Guy Gilbert owns the Cavaliers. I think he's a billionaire.
Well, like you said, a few versus 120.
Yeah, exactly.
And some of them are buried in Clover Hill Park Cemetery. That's where the Jewish people are at.
That's right.
We'll leave it there.
Mr. Davidson. Yeah.
Yeah, I know about him. And I'm
Bill
sure
Davidson.
there's a few other ones.
Yeah.
So I know I've been by his gravesite. All right, just thought it was a lighthearted topic here.
Yeah.
Because when we come back, we're going to have another one. We have a segment all designed for Rob. Oh, my goodness. Rob and Chris will be talking about this on their Friday show. And I guarantee they're going to want me to repeat this thing back here. And maybe we'll even give them the rights for what I'm about to do. Great stuff here. Jode, I love having this guy on. Everybody on here has been really good. Fernando was his baseball knowledge. And all right, well, Candy, let's go to a station break, because when we come back, we're going to have Rob's big moment here. Compliments of yours truly.
The South Florida Tribune Publishing Company published a book, Lessons from the Microphone, Tuning into the Enduring Wisdom of Visionary Leaders. It is written by our host, Scott, the Motor City Madmouth Morganroth, and the foreword was written by another panelist here, George Eichhorn. Great job, gentlemen. Talks about old school media versus new school media and how it has evolved over the years. Get your copy today. It's available on Amazon, Barnes & Noble, Kindle, Google, and Apple Books. There's also a link on our website, www.southfloridatribune.com, where there is a plethora of great content, so go check it out. If you like to listen to podcasts, you can find us wherever you get your podcasts. If you want to advertise, call Scott, 954-304-4941. And if you want to be a guest or have topic ideas, you can always email us at southfloridatribune@gmail.com. Back to you, Scott.
All right. Well, I want to also pay my respect to Stephen Reichel for helping me with this particular gift over to Rob. You don't know him yet, but Stephen Reichel did a very good job filling in for me when Candy and I went overseas. So with that said, Rob, I want you to explain what you're going to be doing. You're going on a cruise. How many have you been on now?
17 before this one.
Okay, 17. Well, I've been on like 4 or 5 of them, but the last one was a Tuesday, so 17. So I'm going to dedicate this video to Rob. I really am. I really feel it's a necessary thing because I have the New York dynamic duo here. These two guys are studs. They're in my system. We're going to bring them on as often as these guys want to come on. We're going to keep them off balance because they don't know what the heck I'm up to. Then again, they never will. But they're welcome to bring me on there to liven their audience anytime they need me. I'm only a text message or a messenger thought away. But in dedication to my brother, Rob, go to it, Candy.
Okay, let me tee it up here. Let me
tee it up, man.
Share my screen.
Rob, you will never forget me, and neither will you, Pizza, after this.
Make your own kind of music. Make your own special song. Make your own.
Wait a minute.
Music. Hey, you use these things the right way, you might as well make a musical instrument out of them. Yes! Because to me, chopsticks, these are metal, so these are good musical instruments, everybody. I'm at a hibachi place here on the boat, and I'm telling you right now that I know I'm not going to use them the right way, so we might as well go out there and entertain you, knowing full well that forks are my reality that these little bad boys called chopsticks and metal make great musical instruments. The Motor City Manmouth is here in the boat, and he is king of the road and is enjoying to put this video up there. So those of you that don't want to use chopsticks the right way, then make a musical instrument out of them, because I'll say one last time, make your own kind of music, make your own special song. And if you want to...
All right, anyways, there you go, Rob. I had those metal chopsticks, and I actually had the boat give me a few of those so I could take them home and put them in the Hall of Fame. So, Rob, you know, I don't know if you have a hibachi place on there, but maybe I don't know how to use chopsticks, people. I go with those things called forks. They work. But when you see those things called metal chopsticks, then you got to be able to use them a little bit. I may not get more than a handful of views on them. Then again, I probably got several on this show here watching. People said, this guy, but here's the lesson to be learned out of this video. I've learned now, okay, and that's this. I am hooked on international travel, okay. I decided to put my sports bucket list on an indefinite hold for a while. I don't care, because I'm going to make my own kind of music. And if you think I'm trying out for American Idol, then I'm going to tell you something. All politicians are honest, which we know isn't the case, because probably most people will tell you none of them are. Okay. And that Santa Claus is Jewish, and we know none of that is the case. So I'm going to say this one more time, and I'm dedicating it to you, Rob. Make your own kind of music. Make your own kind of music. And no, I won't be trying out for American Idol, but I'll tell you what I'm going to be doing. I'm going on to the next segment. Great stuff.
Wait a second. Wait a second, real quick.
Go ahead.
A week from tonight, actually, is when I have reservations for the Japanese restaurant on the ship.
There you go. And he's going to
well,
sing
then here's your, wait a minute. Here's your homework, okay? When you come back on our show, you got to let me know, are they giving you wooden chopsticks, or are they going to give you metal ones?
I'll let you know, and I could use either one. I have no problems with chopsticks.
Well, you can, but I'll tell you what. I can't even tie a tie, brother. I need clip-ons. I need people to pre-tie them. What makes you think I'm any good with chopsticks? Really? Seriously, really? I'm awful.
Rob is a VIP. He gets the gold ones.
That's right.
When I was an undergrad, wait a minute. When I was an undergrad at the University of South Florida, I didn't know anything about foreign language either. So what do you think I did? I stacked the cotton picking deck with classes in the summer and the spring, and got up in the skin of my teeth, man. It got out in August of 1986. I didn't have to pass that stupid requirement. And you know what? I think they ended up doing away with it. Otherwise, I would have had something to do with Welcome Back, Kotter. I would have been a broke sweat hawk, and college wasn't cheap coming out of my damn pocket. All right, what got me going? Not the caffeine, but that topic. I said, make your own kind of music. And no, I'm not going over to American Idol, because then you're going to end up having a Memorex, and I'll break those stupid things too. That's what all. I don't know. Great stuff.
I don't think you have enough energy.
Oh, I don't think so either. I don't know. We'll see. I don't know if I do either. But Rob, on behalf of everybody on the Sports Exchange South Florida Tribune Network, I want you to have a great time. And I guarantee after this video, you'll be thinking about me for sure.
I will. How could I not? Thank you.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I told you, my friend. Didn't I say I was going to give you something you'd never forget about this segment?
And you
ever
did.
think on a sports show that you would ever have anything to hear about metal chopsticks? Metal
Never.
People. We're not talking wood or whatever, or plastic or whatever. We're talking metal. And if you had bigger ones, they would hurt somebody, but these didn't. All they did was make everybody laugh, and everybody at that hibachi, sushi, whatever you call that stuff, they were laughing at me like, where is he coming from? Because you know something I have in common with that situation? I had some in common with Aaron Rodgers. I did something like relax, and that doesn't happen with me for those people that know me. Icorn and Candy know better, Jacob, and you two, my New York dynamic, we're going to find out. You don't know what the word relax. All he does is work from 1 o'clock till 7 in the morning, and it goes on later in the day as he prepares for the show and tries to find every cotton picking way to stay mentally charged here so I can entertain everybody and continue to watch this platform grow. And I'll say one thing, as I recruit more and more people, they all have something in common with Barbara. with Barbara Streisand, a star is born, and I'm looking for stars that are born. Where do all these entertainments come out? I don't know. But I had a great day at Miami Hurricanes Day. Anyway, why do you think I'm wearing the Cane shirt? And I got to see another superstar interviewer in Candy Evelyn. So there you go, Rob. On behalf of all your friends here and all the other ones that'll get to know you as time goes, have a great trip, brother. And remember,
Thank you.
make your own kind of music. And now you have a different way of what chopsticks sound like, my brother. And I'll tell you what, if you want to watch that video, go to our YouTube channel. It's right there for you to watch it in its entirety. We just gave you a sample size. That's another reason people subscribe to the South Florida Tribune YouTube channel. Or maybe that will turn a few people off. I don't know. Please don't let that happen. All right, next topic. Here we go. Okay. And that's it. First, we're going to talk about a little bit of NFL news. Trey Hendrickson is planning to report to Cincinnati Bengals camp. Obviously, he did it today to avoid a $50,000 fine. So good move by him. Obviously, they're miles apart from getting an extension done, but I think it was a wise move. I don't need anybody to comment on it. I just want to get this as a news item as we can continue to move forward. Also, George Kittle has re-signed an extension with the 49ers. Anybody wants to comment on either of these topics, do so, but they don't have to be very long. Anybody out there that wants to talk about Trey Hendrickson or George Kittle, I don't know if you play fantasy football or not, but that's some of the most recent NFL news.
Well, I mean, first of all, you got to talk about Trey Hendrickson. What is Cincinnati doing? Get this guy in, sign him, get him done. This guy is one of, if not the best pass rusher in the league. What are you waiting for? And you're talking about the Bengals, who defense is horrendous, right? And how do you think a guy like Joe Burrow is sitting back, thinking about this? He's probably like, listen, I know I'm signed here long term, but I'm not going to stay here too much longer. If you're not willing to sign, some of your best players, especially on defense. Joe Burrow could do it all on offense. Obviously, he's going to put up 30 points a game, maybe sometimes 40, but his defense is going to give up even more. So you got to get this guy in. Cincinnati is, their owner is obviously not the best in the league. Let's be honest.
Be outright honest. He's cheap.
Okay. All right. You said it.
He's cheap. Come on, man. I expect more out of you than that. You're too nice on that one.
I am. I'm too nice. I
got to teach you that nasty thing. These people in New York ought to know what nasty is. Just say the damn guy is cheap. That's okay. But that's all right, Pizza. I'll give you a pass.
I'm trying my best. I
don't ever
Pizza.
I'm having my Motor City Madhouse moment. Why do you think I have it? Wait a minute. Why do you think I have hats called Really, Seriously, Really, and then the other way, Seriously, Really, Seriously, and then the Motor City Man Mouth? Because I'm quiet. Now, you're okay. I love you, Pizza. But I just want you to have a little bit of nasty.
He's cheap.
That a boy. Now
there you go.
Just like if you would have saw Candy today, and I'm going to mention this because it's necessary, get your opinion out there about Hendricks. Saying I have a Candy story here. Okay,
and it's a disgrace too that he's like, isn't he the son of one of the greatest men in pro football? I mean, one of the forefathers of Paul Brown. I mean, and he's a disgrace to this. I don't know. It's sad. It took him forever to get the first round signed.
To be fair, Paul Brown wasn't exactly big with the money clip either. You know what I mean?
I don't think any of them were back in the day. So I'm not going to kill him.
Yeah. But the thing about it is, a lot of their problems, not necessarily the price, but it's a lot of their issues. Both Hendrickson, Shermar, the draft pick, all that kind of stuff. The draft pick almost went back to college.
Right.
So their issue is not that a lot of it is, it's guaranteed money, and it's guaranteed money. And well, as far as the draft pick, a lot of his was the fact that he wanted to be able to, if he got arrested, he wouldn't lose his money.
Right.
Like, even though to me, I'm with Mike Brown on that one. He's like, well, it's never going to happen. Well, if you're bringing that up, it's going to happen.
Right.
There's the issue. So it's like he's bringing that. But which I'm on Mike Brown's side. But the thing about it is that we can say this about Mike Brown. One of the greatest people of all time is Paul Brown. There's no question about it. But he was cheap too. George House was cheap too. So a lot of those guys were penny pinchers. Just from that day.
Well, and the thing is that, you call owners cheap. Some would call them fiscally responsible. But I have no sympathy for the guy in Cincinnati right now because, I mean, they need Hendrickson so bad. I mean, that Bengals team has just been a huge disappointment the last 2 years when you got a all-pro quarterback like you do. But yeah, Hendrickson, he held out, I think, as long as he could, and then probably his agent said, "Well, you know what? You better get your butt in camp, get over there and help this team out." They'll work out the financials, but Cincinnati, yeah, they've got a litany of bad management.
Really,
Well,
sign them already. Quit playing the game.
The Bengals aren't going to forgive you with $50,000 in fines. Maybe the other teams will, but not them. That's for sure.
Yeah.
He's had 20 sacks back-to-back years, right? In the last 2 years, he's had 20 or 19 sacks. It's crazy.
Yeah, that's a good player. He deserves to get paid.
He's great.
Yeah.
Anybody else have anything to say about Hendrickson or Kittle? Or go ahead, Candy.
Well, Hendrickson missed the first 7 days and 5 practices of camp, accumulating $350,000 in fines. He also received a total of $104,768 in fines for not attending the 3 days of Bengals mandatory minicamp in June. He led the league with 17.5 sacks last season, becoming the 4th player since sacks became an official statistic in 1982 to have 2 straight years with at least 17.5 sacks. His 57 sacks since joining the Bengals in 2021 are 3rd most in the NFL over the past 4 seasons.
Those are unbelievable numbers. All I can say about it, I don't want to dwell on it too much because I'll have a few other things I'll get to, is the Bengals need to pay this guy. He deserves it. Those numbers speak for themselves. All right, we're gonna stay in New York though, and I know I'm making these guys feel at home, aren't I? A whole lot better than the sticker shock that they got last week when they didn't know what they were getting into, but did really darn good acing that test last week called their first show. But this is a little bit easier for the dynamic duo, anyways. Giants legend Lawrence Taylor denied Abdul Carter's request to wear his number 56. All right, Pizza, what do you think about that?
All right. This is right in my wheelhouse, right here.
I figured it would
be. Last year, was it? They gave the number 1 to the wide receiver, right? Which was a joke. You retire a number because you want to retire it so it doesn't get used again. Okay? You're honoring that player. So, no, the number should not be used. And I love that LT said that. I'm not a Giant fan. I hate the team, so I'm not. But I'm giving LT 1,000% credit. And I knew before it happened. I'm like, there's no way LT is giving up 56. I mean, when you think of 56, you think of LT, right? I mean, it's as simple as that. He's not giving up that number. That number is iconic, so that's good. The team itself should stop a player before they even ask the player. They should say, listen, no, the number is retired for a reason. You're not getting it. I don't care if the player says it. Don't even bother talking to him. So that's how I.
Thanks, Bo, for popping in. We appreciate you. Bo's a real stud here, superstar. And Pizza, you'll get a chance to meet up with Bo at some point. Hopefully he comes on the football show when he gets a chance. First of all, I can tell you this. My first Super Bowl, that was down in Miami. I was actually at the announcement when Taylor was selected to the Hall of Fame. So Taylor's a one-of-a-kind player. And I'll just say this. That number should never be worn. I'm glad he kept his position. 2 opinions. Now, what do you think, Candy?
In sports, a retired number signifies the honor bestowed upon a player by a team, or in some cases, an entire league, where the number is permanently taken out of circulation and no longer issued to other players. It's a way to recognize the player's significant contributions, career achievements, or impact on the team, and it's considered a high honor. The fact that guys are coming into the league that have not proven anything and want to even ask to wear a number that's retired is ridiculous. I'm sorry. It's ridiculous. You've used that number maybe in college and you did really well. But come on, change it, go into the league, get your own number, and prove that they should retire your number once you're done.
Hey, Jacob.
Let me tell you this, Candy. The Bears and the Packers over the years are going to start making a habit of giving those reserved back to those retired numbers back to the kids, because they both have the most retired numbers in the league. And they're and that's the big thing about it. They're gonna run out of numbers to be able to retire. Both teams will, and they're gonna start giving them back in the first place. But here's the thing, though. The one thing of the obnoxiousness about the kids asking for something like that, it's one thing with a Ring of Fame guy and you're being nice or doing whatever. It's another if it's Lawrence Taylor. Lawrence Taylor changed the outside linebacker position, middle linebacker position, excuse me. He changed it completely and utterly. It's like asking for 33 in Boston.
Right.
It's like asking for 33 in Boston after it's retired. It's like someone who changed the small forward position, someone who was one of the greatest top 5 of all time. You just don't. But there's an obnoxiousness and an ego to people that we've seen them many times. Since like the 70s, 60s, and 70s practically. But there used to be a respect with it, But we've gotten old enough now to where it's like it's not okay. That could be my dad's. That could be my grandpa. So they're kind of disrespecting the old people. So Of course you don't do that. Of course you don't do that. You don't give that back and whatever. But I think the Bears and the Packers are going to start doing it, unfortunately, because they're going to run out of numbers to retire in the first place.
Green Bay has only officially retired 6 numbers. So it's not as many as you think, Jacob.
Well, the Bears have retired a ton, so that's what I'm saying. It's gonna. But I think between the two, it's like
14 for the Bears.
Huh?
14 numbers for the Bears.
Yeah. So okay, it's
'Cause there've been 14.
It's going to happen.
All right, there's still plenty of numbers left. I'm not worried about giving numbers back. You know what? Let's
But no,
wait
I
till
can see
that,
the Bears,
especially the Bears. But are they going to retire a number anytime soon?
No.
I'm not here to make fun, but I'm just saying.
Not with these rosters. They're definitely never going to retire 18 with Caleb Williams. Give me a break.
Exactly. They're not retiring numbers anytime soon.
Chris, you know what? That was a good one. I like the way
I'm just saying. I'm not making a joke. I'm just being.
You don't have to, but that was. Hey, listen. Let me ask you a question there, Pizza. Can you take a compliment? Can you? Yes or no?
Right. I appreciate it. Yes, of course.
I'm asking you.
I don't get them that often, Scott. So
all right, listen to me. Listen to me, Pizza. I'm asking you a direct question. Okay, it's your second time on this show. I was on yours, so I'm getting to know you guys like crazy brothers. Okay, can you take a compliment? Yes or no?
Yes, I can.
Good. I gave it to you.
All right,
take it.
I can.
That's right.
Take it. Good take there, Mr. Pizza Man. Good stuff. I'm proud of this guy. Look at him laughing. Make sure you tell your people over in New York Talkland. Oh, this guy's New York MLB Talkland. That this guy just asked me, can I take a compliment? I don't get them often. Yes. Okay. What about you, Icor? What do you think about Mr. Taylor?
Well, I tell you what, I think Lawrence is smart. I really do. I'm not in the camp that says, oh yeah, you can have my number, after it's retired. I don't believe in that either. I mean, you talk about situations, and I don't want to bring up the Lions, but they're chintzy like that. They've not had a lot of ceremonies. They've not retired a lot of numbers. But one thing I'll say is that, you ask permission, but permission doesn't have to always be granted. So I'm glad LT said no, to be honest with you.
Right.
I mean, if it's your own son, maybe that'd be something unique and different. But even that, it doesn't happen very often. So way to go, LT. I'm in his court.
All right, Mr. Rob, Mr. Cruise Man, make your own kind of music, man.
Did anybody think that LT was going to say, okay, take my number? We're talking about LT, all right? His ego is bigger than, the Empire State Building. There's no way that LT would ever say, yes, take my number. And why would the kid even want LT's number? Get your own number and make a name for yourself and get that number retired.
Right.
It's so stupid. It's just stupid.
I'm talking my New York duo here. They know how to come up with good ones. You're bigger than the Empire State Building. I didn't come up with that one. I always say most people bigger than the Titanic is what I use.
I'd be afraid to ask LT for his number. Really? You talking about LT? You know what kind of a guy this guy was?
Yeah,
crazy.
Yeah.
Right?
If you run his Google rap sheet, you'll find out why you would be afraid.
Right.
You know him better than me, probably, Scott.
Sometimes I like to say sad but true, but you know, it is what it is.
Yeah.
I'm the only guy on the world that would turn down Barry Bonds and get soaked by champagne with the Marlins, but I enjoyed every last second of it.
He's the home run leader. You should always be talking to that
Nah,
guy.
he's Mr. Asterisk. You guys know what I said on your show. You got the transcript. You guys did a good job putting me on the spot on that. Let me tell you, if you've ever go on these guys' show, it is an absolute treat being with these two guys. They really are. You want to talk about an operation that promotes my book better than these guys? Find it. I don't know anybody that's gone to the levels that Mr. Pizza Man here, Mr. Make your own kind of music, because you got a new nickname because of the streets that you let the cat out of the bag on. Went out promoted my book and made me feel really at home. These guys are awesome. If you're ever lucky enough to go on these guys' show, I'm gonna tell you something. To me, their show is like driving in a Rolls Royce. It is that damn good. And if you're a guest and you're sitting in a penthouse, brother, that's how good it was. I'll be your promotional guy going forward here, Mr. Empire State Building or Jed Clampett living in Beverly Hills. Look how the different. It's got money and it's got class. All right. But that said, let's go to my town. All right.
Hey, I gotta ask you for a favor on this. I'm losing you guys little by little because we're having a storm out here.
Okay.
So I need to do this and get out.
All right, go ahead. What do you got?
I got to do the pundit for tonight.
Okay, go ahead.
All right. Yeah. Just letting everybody know. Hulk Hogan was my hero growing up.
Okay.
He was. And I mean, childhood. I mean, it was an enormous part of my childhood. But I gave my mourning over a week, like the last week. I did. It's like the mourning truly needs to be for the parent and everything. All we're mourning is our childhoods. One of my favorite pictures was a little boy holding a little Hulk Hogan thing with the Hulk walking off the sunset. One of my favorites. But now I'm going to give a little lesson on something. I was hearing you earlier, Candy, about Gary Danielson and retirement and needing and everything. And you're completely correct on this, but he also needs to keep going and energy in a certain way, find something else to do. Because one of the things about Hulk that he was able to continue to do, and I'm saying this about Rick, even when I've done the comparison, Ric Flair too, is keep going. It's like, yeah, Hulk had 28 back surgeries. I mean, back and neck surgeries over the years, just ridiculous number. And yet he was walking to the end, which a lot of us are in wheelchairs at one. You know what I'm saying? That was the thing. But the main thing about living as long as you can is activity.
Right.
Keep active, keep everything.
Jacob. I don't want to interrupt you, but I have to tell you something quick before you go about Hulk Hogan.
Yeah.
If you Hulk Hogan, my friend Gary was married to Hulk Hogan's niece. So he was Uncle Terry. And when I was a teenager, Uncle Terry used to give us tickets to go to the Meadowlands to watch him wrestle and go into the locker room. So to me, he was a good guy. I just wanted to tell you that.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. But this is what I see. I grew up with an older dad. I've said this quite a few times, 50 when I was born. And he went to his 80s. He had a good life. You know what I mean? I was 31 when he died. But it's like, you want to know what the thing about it is? This guy was in his 70s. He was raising two teenagers, and 71, raising two teenagers and a 10-year-old. But you want to know? But the thing he was trying to do at the end, he was opening a bar across Madison Square Garden and opening a store in Tennessee, another store in Florida, and doing this wrestling company. Maybe at his age, it was a little, probably shortened his life a little bit, but he probably would have shortened his life if he just sat down on the beach and just sat there and did nothing.
Hey, Jacob, before you go, I want you to give me one quick take on Shannon Sharp getting let go. I know that you're at it.
And it's probably going to be Eli May taking his place. I mean, it's like, it's just kind of crazy right now, but it's like, the only thing about Shannon is just be careful. Right. Be careful what you're doing, and he refuses to. But the real thing I'm saying real fast with the Hulk is keep moving in life. That's what keeps you going longer.
All right, well, you know what? That's a great pundit. I appreciate you being on the show week in and week out, showing up. So take care of yourself in Atlanta. But next week, just so you know, it'll all be on Atlanta. NHL expansion is what we'll be talking about. It'll
You
be
bet.
it will be a one-topic show with a non-sports topic. So Jacob, thanks for being on week in and
Take
week
care.
out. You be safe in
Good
Atlanta,
night.
okay, my friend?
Yep.
Thank you very much. All right, we'll continue. Thank you. All right, so what we're going to do now is we're going to go back to my town. I want to make sure he had an opportunity to comment on some key topics. Is everybody pretty much everybody ready to move over to my town real quickly? I think we've got everything up to speed so far. All right. So I'm going to lead off with this one. Get this: Dontrell Willis on July 7th, 2006, hits a grand slam home run at Shea Stadium. Can you imagine that? And of course, he was subsequently sent to the Detroit Tigers as a throw-in for Miguel Cabrera as a salary dump. Just a little piece of information there, just so you know. Now, George, I don't know if you know about traffic updates in Detroit. Only because of you, I would even dare to bring this up. But just so you know, Mr. Eichhorn, if you're out that way, Coolidge Bridge Road over I-696 in Oak Park closes for repairs, and it will open up on August 23rd. It will be reopened. So stay away from there, Eichhorn. I don't know where you're working, but stay away from there. I only brought that up because it's on my town, and it's in your town, and I grew up in that Oak Park, Southfield area. But Dontrell Willis hitting a grand slam home run at Shea Stadium.
Yep.
And I got 2 New Yorkers on this show. Well, you know. Won a World Series, too, by the way. He was pretty good. But when he went to Detroit, Jim Leland couldn't fix him, but we all know that. So, and one thing I should point out, too, about Ichiro Suzuki is he did get his 3,000th hit with the Miami Marlins, and he didn't know who the Marlins were when they were there. You talk about his sense of humor and the fact he should have gotten unanimous. That's a little fact I'll throw out there as well. So those are my 2 things. We got Dontrell Willis and Coolidge Road, my town. Now we're going to go to George, which is also a hit town. Go ahead, George.
Well, this is just going to be a kudos thing. The Detroit Free Press, one of our 2 newspapers, yes, we still are a 2-newspaper town in Detroit. They just did a recent series, which is just outstanding. They look back on the last 25 years, which is the first 25 years of the 21st century, as we know. So from 2000 to 2025, they took a look at all the athletes, all of them from Tigers, Red Wings, Lions, Pistons, and did an outstanding series. So kudos to the Free Press. And then last Sunday, they topped it off, and Scott, you're going to love this, with a look back on all the stadiums that we no longer use in Detroit. And of course, many of you know those: Tiger Stadium, Olympia Stadium, Cobo Arena, the Palace, the Silverdome, on and on. So that was a real great big spread in last Sunday's Detroit Free Press Sports section. And I just wanted to say thank you. Thank you to the Free. You're doing a good job, and you brought back a lot of memories for a lot of us the last 25 years, or going back further than that, of course, with those stadiums that are no longer with us. That's my town.
Well, it's your town, Rob.
Now, does my town have to be sports, or could I switch it up a little?
Do whatever you want. I don't care. You're going on a cruise. You're going to be relaxing.
Because I in my town, okay, I'm in Staten Island, New York, right?
Okay.
Something's going on. I'm seeing on Facebook where everybody is losing their dog or their cat. And I want to know what's going on in my town that every day I'm seeing 20 dogs and 20 cats missing on the missing pet thing. And why don't they have collars? Why don't they have name tags? And what is going on in my town with all these animals missing? I don't get it. And I just had to get that out because it's been annoying me all day seeing all these lost animals. How come? I don't get it.
You know, Rob, I'm going to tell you, between you and Mr. Pizza, who obviously has learned tonight the hard way, that when I ask you, do you know how to take a compliment? I'll bet Mr. Pizza will know from now on. He will know how to take a compliment because I give him plenty. And I love having both of you guys on the show because you guys are just a blast. So, but no, I enjoy that. You're talking about pets, and that's dear to our heart. So I enjoy that. Hey, listen, how can I not let you do that? I bring out 2 non-sports topics of mine. Why would I not let you talk about dogs and collars? Come on, man. Can you take a compliment? Great stuff. I know you can.
Thank you. I can take a compliment.
I know you're good, man. You guys are awesome, baby. And Dick Vidal would say. And George is getting an idea that what I find here, George, when you go on social media, you go on Twitter, you find studs like these two guys. I got to teach Eichhorn a lot more, but when I got two Batmans, you guys aren't a Batman and Robin. You're just two Batmans. That's really great stuff. So all right, Mr. Pizza, what's going on in your town?
You know what? I'm going to keep it to sports because if we turn it around,
Right,
we'll get into the ugly things. I don't like talking about ugly things. Let's just talk about baseball. I'm going to give Rob's team a little bit of a shout out. They picked up Helsley today. They got Rogers for the bullpen as well, Tyler Rogers. They got Soto for the bullpen. They're building themselves the best bullpen in baseball. And we know in this day and age, the bullpen is what is going to win you games in the playoffs, right? The Yankees, we know, won all those championships because we had the best bullpen at that time and the best closer. Now you got, the Mets right now. I mean, you got Diaz and you got Helsley back-to-back in the 8th and 9th inning. I mean, no one's going to beat that. So if the Mets got a lead, I think the Mets are going to, the Mets got a chance here to run it right into the World Series and maybe even win the World Series. I don't like to hear that because I want my Yankees to be in the World Series and I don't want another Subway Series. I don't want to go through that again. I lost a lot of years off my life in that World Series, even though my team won in 5 games. I don't want to go through that again. So, but anyway, I'm giving him props. And what's up with the Yankees? Make some moves. Let's go.
Yeah. I feel bad if a guy like you is losing years off your life. Mine are going really quick. I got to worry about vocal cord surgery in a 4 or 5 months, but that's okay. Mr. Pizza, you're good, man. You're adding years to my life by showing up and putting on a show with these two guys. So that's all right. You'll be fine, man. We'll just have a little Aaron Rodgers in you. Just make sure you don't get immunized, okay?
You can't say that name in New York.
What's that?
You can't say that name in New York. No.
I'm not. I'm in Florida. I can say it.
We don't want to hear that name in New York anymore.
That's okay. I'm kidding with you.
Good line.
Yeah. All right. So Strawberry Fields forever. No, I guess it's Justin Fields. Just kidding. I'm just trying to shout out to my singing, which I'll never do again on this show anyway. And I'm just surprised that Joshua Dorr and that Cyberowski isn't here to see me sing. These guys are on every show, but they missed the boat on this one. All right, go ahead, Candy. What's going on in your town?
So I'm going to start out with the town that's near and dear to my heart, Milwaukee. Kudos to Christian Yelich. He scored his 1,000th career run scored today. Kudos to him because, let's face it, longevity is not necessarily what we know of in today's game, but kudos to him for that. And then I'm going to say kudos to the Miami Hurricanes.
Yeah.
I love football. And today I got to go down and be part of their media day and watch their media day and watch my husband interview different offensive players, defensive players, coaches. It was my first time at this particular event. I've covered them for a couple of years. But what a cool event to allow us access to the different players and to be able to ask them questions. And I would highly recommend anybody that is a Hurricane fan. I will be putting up all of those interviews on our YouTube channel. Watch for them to come out and watch them because, football is like my favorite sport. So this is my time of year that I start really getting excited. I love baseball too, don't get me wrong, but baseball's going on and football in the same time. And it's just a great time of year and I'm excited.
Well, I'm going to just go a step further. Kudos to you because you went ahead after I got done talking to the running backs coach for the Miami Hurricane. Candy, I was waiting for Jason Taylor. Candy's asking him all kinds of questions. And now she's going to regret this because I'm going to find a way to create a show where she has to do a one-on-one. And I'm going to activate no limits for her just so she does do it once in a while. So I'll tell you, she just opened up a can of worms that this girl is awfully good. You talk about two people that are working in the field. George has seen us together. We don't mess around. We don't act like two people that are related. Candy's done an unbelievable job, not only what she does at the website, but what she does here on the air. But this girl showed me some one-on-one interview skills, and everybody in her family's going to think I brainwashed her. I didn't brainwash this girl, but boy, she turned it out awfully good, man. Great stuff to you. And also one last couple congratulations to David Wolf, former Jacksonville Jaguars PR guy who went over to the Houston Rockets and now is a PR guy for the Houston Texans. And the last shout I'm going to give out here before we go to parting shots will be to Cameron Gorby. I have worked around a lot of great PR people, and this guy, to me, is one of the most cooperative, and he gives me all the room I need to work with. I have tell you one thing. If there's a class PR guy out there that gives me the access, Cameron Gorby, to me, Mercedes, Rolls Royce, choose what you want, but this guy is class in every sense of the world. And Jason Taylor is also a class act too. I enjoy it. He's a Hall of Fame person, and I'll tell you one thing: he's a heck of a coach. You'll see his name in coaching circles down. He's happy with the Miami Hurricanes, and that interview will also be released in the coming days as well. So I had 4 questions, but there were 4 strong ones. All right, let's go to parting shots. Okay, Chris, lead off.
Parting shots got to be. Listen, the deadline's going to be tomorrow for Major League Baseball. Let's see what teams are going to do. Detroit, it just popped up. They traded for Rafael Montero, former Astro, right? So that's getting a little bit of playoff experience, actually World Series experience, with him. So I think that was a smart move. Let's see what happens now. I mean, tomorrow I think there's still some big moves about to happen. You know, you still got Luis Robert out there, and maybe Cedric Mullins of the Orioles going to be on the move as well. So the Mets are looking for a center fielder. Yankees looking for pitching. So I'm hoping they add a couple of arms. But you know what? Detroit's been quiet somewhat. You know, I know they picked up Montero, and you mentioned a couple of guys, but they haven't made that major move. I'm curious if they're going to go for it and make that major move. Maybe Toronto does because they're in first place. So, and the Dodgers, Ohtani left his start today. He was, he got hurt in the 4th inning, 3rd inning. So are they going to look for somebody, even though they got a million people on the injured list too? So I'm looking forward to the trade deadline tomorrow, to what happens.
Shohei Ohtani, I still think at some point his pitching has to stop. He got a hit.
I agree.
They're riding it out. We'll leave that for another night. But since you brought it up, I wanted to go ahead with it. Okay, Candy, what's your parting shot?
My parting shot is, give me a second. I'm looking for it because I had it and I just lost it. My parting shot is kudos to Katie Ledecky. She has, if you look at her numbers, the last 15 high scores in her field, she's the top. She has all of the top 15 high times in her swimming event. So kudos to her.
Okay,
that's it.
Bob, what's your parting shot?
About the same as Chris said, the trade deadline. Can't wait until tomorrow. The Mets are going to make some more moves. The Mets, and I'm going to say it now, the Mets now have the best bullpen in Major League Baseball, and I don't care what anybody says. The moves that David Stern's making right now, and it's going to continue. They're going to get a big bat tomorrow, and I'm happy. It's great, and I can't wait until tomorrow.
Okay. George, what's your parting shot?
My parting shot is, there are a lot of fans complain about people with those pricey seats not showing up. They look like empty chairs behind the home plate. The Tigers finally redesigned their home plate seating and have upped the ante for so much. But this week they rolled out, finally behind those seats is the private club that the seat holders of those premium seats, home plate club, gets to enjoy. So the project is finally done. I know there's people out there that don't like it, but come on, folks, that's the survival. To run a major league team, you got to have revenue drivers, and the Tigers are one of the last to come to the plate, pardon my pun, to build these seats and to build that special dining area right behind those seats underneath the stands. That's my parting shot.
Well, you know what? My parting shot is going back at Shannon Sharpe, and I'll tell you why. Okay, it is a sad commentary when a 20-year-old model who filed a $50 million lawsuit against Shannon Sharpe says she's retiring after settling this particular lawsuit with him and plans to be active on social media and new projects. Shannon, are you cotton picking stupid? I wonder what Skip Bayless is thinking. Everybody had sympathy because you couldn't take the beating that Skip would lay on you, right? And then Skip Bayless, say what you want about him. He's a 70-year-old guy with a strong opinion, and he knows how to get under your skin. But this guy's a darn good writer. You may not have to agree with him, but now Skip Bayless is looking at his former partner, okay, settling a lawsuit that involves sexual assault, rape, whatever you want to call it. And everybody knows that this girl went out there and tell you one thing, she's a great businessman. She took him to the bank. And what else happened? ESPN made the worst kept secret on the planet. They let him go. But in retrospect, they let him go months ago anyways. So all I can tell you one thing is, Shannon Sharp, good luck if you're ever getting a job anywhere else. You are not doing it. You talk about that stupid. I don't know many words in Spanish, but once upon a time, I dated a Puerto Rican girl, and I know the adios amigos and all that business. But I never, when I heard the word used el stupido, that I knew she was times when I got in an argument with her, she was referring that to me. So on behalf of my limited Spanish, okay, which it really is limited to el stupido, and my cotton picking bad singing that won't ever appear in American Idol. You know what, Shannon? You're El Stupido. Let's see you find sponsors for your podcast because you're not getting employed anywhere. Good riddance, Shannon. And I'm wondering what Skip Bayless says. And another thing I'll say about Skip Bayless is this, okay? Has his own podcast. And he's doing what I'm doing with my wife here. He's got a podcast with his wife, Ernestine. Not bad. Done everything. Might as well have one with my other half. I'll bet he's having a good time and making good money. And today, somewhere along the lines in Dallas, whether he likes the Cowboys or not, whether he's partial toward the Lakers, he's looking at Shannon. How could you do it? How could you do it? And Stephen A. Smith is nodding his head. Oh, what?
He just threw away a lot of money.
And here's the thing, too. We see a guy like Shannon Sharp pull this stuff off. I'm still disappointed that Trevor Bauer hasn't gotten another chance to play ball. Because, one thing, in my opinion, he deserved another opportunity. Nobody had the guts to give it to him. Period. Say what you want about him, but I'll tell you what, innocent till proven guilty. There are individuals out there that will try to take you to the bank and seize the opportunity. I'm not knocking women at all, so I want to make that very clear. If there's a problem that happens against your discretion, report it and take care of it. I get that. But when you have a guy like that has a wealth of money and you know that you're a target for such a situation and you put yourself in that situation, you have to be heads up over it. And again, I understand. Hey, listen, nobody wants to see sexual assault. Nobody wants to see rape. Once upon a time, Mike Tyson got thrown in jail for rape. Rape is bad. You don't ever want to mistreat a woman. You just don't, okay? But the bottom line is I'm going back to my man Shannon, my favorite whipping boy tonight. At least Eichhorn got the night off from being my whipping boy. Shannon Sharp, El Stupido, good riddance, and I don't want to hear you or see you again. Period. Off to our final station break. We'll let everybody know they get a hold of them. Great job tonight by Jacob Christner, as well as everybody, and my dynamic duo here, my two Batmans. These guys are unbelievable. So, Candy, go out to one more station break. We'll let the rest of the group go in there. And George Eichhorn will be joining me tomorrow on Sports Rapper. We're going to talk some hockey. Candy gets a country club tomorrow. So, all right, Candy, go ahead.
South Florida Tribune Publishing Company published a book, Lessons from the Microphone, Tuning into the Enduring Wisdom of Visionary Leaders. It is written by our host, Scott, the Motor City Madmouth Morganroth, with the foreword also written by one of our panelists, Mr. George Eichhorn. Talks about Scott's 40-plus years in the business and how media has changed over that 40 years. Definitely a great read, great stories. Get your copy today, available on Amazon, Barnes & Noble, Kindle, Google, and Apple Books. If you like to listen to podcasts, you can find us wherever you get your podcasts. Monday nights, we're talking baseball. Tuesday nights, we're talking football. Wednesday nights on Sports Exchange, this show. Or Thursday nights on Fire Up. You just never know what you're going to be getting, so tune in to find out. But on the Sports Wrap, they talk hockey on Thursday nights as well. If you have not yet subscribed, do so. But also hit that notification button so you know when we're going live. Then share us with all your friends and family. If you want to advertise, call Scott 954-304-4941. And if you want to be a guest on one of our shows, or you have a topic that you just want us to cover, email us at southfloridatribune@gmail.com. Back to you, Scott.
All right. Well, actually, back to Rob. Why don't you let everybody know how they get a hold of yourself? And also, I want you to talk about your show tonight, Promoted Good.
Okay, yeah, Friday night, and we're going to promote your book again on Friday night, Scott. So
Thank
we're
you.
going to put it up.
Appreciate it.
Definitely. NY MLB Talk at 10 p.m. or after the Met and Yankee games, post-game live show with special guest Anthony Savino, who is going to go nuts. He is going to scream about the New York Mets losing 3 games and getting swept by the Padres. So check us out, if you could, on YouTube, Facebook Live, or Twitter/X.
Great stuff. And you know what I'm going to say to you as you go? But now I'm not doing what Chop said. I'm doing what Pence. Make your own kind of music. Make your own special song on your cruise ship and enjoy your
America's Got
Japanese.
Talent is calling you.
I'll tell you what, I had to feed off of this one tonight. This guy's going on a cruise, and we're talking about chopsticks. So make your own. And now I'm doing it with Pence. You can do it anything you want. Now I did it with Pence. It's a chopstick. All right, George, go ahead.
All right, you can read me on the South Florida Tribune website under contributors. I write for the Detroit Monitor locally. I write for Scott and Candy on their publication. At the end of my column, there's always a link to the Amazon page. Thanks to Candy for putting that cover of my book up. Yeah, nice. Detroit Sports Broadcasters on the Air, featuring Ernie Harwell, George Kell, Ray Lane, Frank Beckman, all those guys that did Tiger baseball over the years, Ty Tyson, Harry Heilman. The list goes on and on. Also, you can find me on X, Twitter, SandGSports99, or on LinkedIn under George Eichhorn, or send me an email, gieichhorn@yahoo.com. Glad to be part of the show. Thanks again for having me tonight.
Yeah, I tell you, I gave you my bet for my New York pals. These guys are unbelievable.
Yeah, they are. They are.
And with that said, we're going to go to the man that now knows how to take a compliment. And I know there you go. Bow, my brother. I guarantee I'll mold you into taking a compliment.
Thank you. I don't get many of them, so that's good. I'm gonna start writing them down, how many I get.
I'll tell you what, you'll get plenty of mine, and you'll have cauliflower ears when I get finished with you. So go ahead. Let everybody know how they get a hold of you, my brother. I like this guy. Pizza's a character. And yes. I got. Let's see. You like to be football next week, right? Is that your main specialty?
Sure. Baseball or football. I'll fill in on Tuesday for you.
Yeah, I have a feeling you may be on Tuesday next week. So we'll be in touch, but I have a feeling that's where you're headed. So, all right, go ahead and let everybody know how they get a hold of you. Tonight, promote your show. You can promote the baseball show twice. I don't know nothing about that, but I can say we're going to talk New York MLB, talk to the second power. Is that a math term, by the way?
Yeah. I think it is, right? Hey, listen, Friday night, Anthony Savino, he's your type of guy, Scott. So I'm hoping you tune into our show because you're gonna love this guy.
It's gonna be a show with this guy. I'll judge myself.
I don't think we can handle you and Anthony. That might be too much. I really don't think so. We can only handle one of you guys at a time. You know what I mean? We're not that big of a show yet.
Well, I've had shows like that where, you know what, you had a boxing match that turned within a show and you guys are laughing so much, and we'll draw people all the way from Iceland to get to that show. Go ahead. I didn't want to ruin your thunder.
It might get crazy, but anyway, definitely Friday night, 10 o'clock, or whenever the Yankee Mets games are over, Rob and I will have our good friend Anthony Savino on, and he's going to get crazy about the Mets, hopefully. And I'm hoping I'm not saying anything bad for Rob, but I'm really hoping the Mets lose Friday so that he'll be even more loud. So it'll be more exciting. But anyway, you can find us on YouTube, Twitter/X. You can find us on Instagram, Facebook, everywhere.
TikTok.
MLB Talk. You can follow myself on Twitter at CP7NY. And you can also find me on Liftoff, a Jets football podcast that I host with my friend Sharman. Great football podcast. Check us out there, wherever you find your podcasts.
There you go. Great stuff. What do you think of these two guys, George?
They're amazing. I love it. They did a great job. Good to be with you guys tonight.
Why do you think I dragged you on this show? I got my two Batmans on here. These guys are
getting compliments from two people. You know what? I'm going to come back.
Yeah,
I know you are.
There you go.
I got news for you. I know what I'm going to do with you, Pizza. To me, you'll be more versatile than some of the Tigers guys on the field. We got all these guys that can play all these millions of positions. I think the most versatile guy, who was the most versatile guy that we had on there? Wasn't that Romine? Was it? Who was
Andrew
the
Romine, yep.
Andrew Romine played them all. I got news for you. My guy here, Pizza Batman, the two GOAT Batmans. Andrew Romine was versatile. Let me tell you something, Pizza. You'll be versatile. I'll have you all over the place. I'll even put you on the country club to keep these guys interesting. But I need you on these other two shows. You bring so much to it. He's just not used to having comments, but he ain't been around me long enough.
I know.
Don't worry. I've always been a firm believer you got to give credit where it's due. With that said, I'm going to give credit where it's due to all the people in the chat room that went out there and came in there and voiced their timely opinion. Much appreciated. I'm going to give credit where it's due to everybody in this group here, Jacob included, for doing an excellent job. And I'm going to give credit to the Miami Hurricanes that made my job easier, because to do 13 interviews in about 70 minutes wasn't too bad. My vocal cords managed to hand it. They weren't all very long. Some were short, some were long, but in the end, they're all ended up on YouTube, thanks to my talented other half, who does it, who's a jack of all trades and master of them all. So with that said, that does conclude this edition of the Sports Exchange tonight. Hope you enjoyed the program. Tomorrow night we have Fire Up, and we also have Sports Wrap. George and I will be running that operation. Cody Speak and Ellen Greenberg will join us as well. So on behalf of Chris, Pizza, because I don't know how to spell them. My eyes are bad. It's okay. I got one of them too. Candy, which is easy. George Eichhorn is easy. And Rob, take your own kind of music. Okay. Have a great time, Rob. And I expect you to give me that update about what types of chops you have. And we'll be able to incorporate. And then your next visit will be with Mickey Calloway on 108.6 Baseball Talk, one Met to another. So
nice.
So, all right. Well, have a great trip. And we enjoy having you two guys on. You guys are absolutely class and classic. That does it, everybody. See you tomorrow night on the network. Good night, everybody.
Night.